All right, welcome back. Whitlock and Wiley. Joel Klatt is back with us. Time now for Darnell's question of the day. Darnell, take it away.
Yes, sir. Let's stay here in town right at USC.
Yeah.
Quarterback Jack Sears finished fourth in the Trojans quarterback competition this spring. Has become the latest high-profile player to enter the transfer portal to try and play somewhere else. For those that don't know, the transfer portal rule went into effect last October, and it allows players to pursue other opportunities without asking permission from their current school, something they couldn't do previously. And as a former player myself, I actually like this because it gives players more leverage. I want to pass it to you, Joel, and ask you, do you think the portal is good for college football?
Yes, overall. Now, I think that it needs to be tweaked a little bit, and I think that the portal should actually shut down once the season starts and then open back up once the season ends. And the only reason is because I think that there's a right and wrong way to transfer. I'm all for these players owning their future and owning their opportunities, but I really love the way Jalen Hurts did it versus the way that we've seen like Jake Haener at Washington. He left Washington. Now you got Sears at USC. I understand trying to keep your options open, but remember, you've got a role to play on a team for that season. So I wish that the transfer portal was just in the offseason.
I love the transfer portal. I don't want to tweak too much because I want guys like Jack Sears, who was a four-star recruit, who finds himself now behind a sophomore, a freshman, and a redshirt junior. And that's before we get another recruiting class in here of 4 or 5-star guys, and you never have an opportunity. Look, there are on-the-field choices and off-the-field choices, and you make a collegiate choice based on your opportunities. I love what he said. Look, you have a plan. But you can change your plan if you don't reach your goal, but never change your goal. And his goal is to try and get to the next level. So why is he going to stay in a situation where he's stuck in concrete as a third, fourth, maybe even fifth stringer? So transfer portal gives you the opportunity.
No, he can't change it for this season, though. So, like, he's got avenues. Like, I think it's fair to criticize him for leaving now and also say he deserves opportunities in the future. There are plenty of means to transfer and play and stay eligible later in your career. I just think that once you, I mean, this guy takes snaps all fall, he's in the meetings, he's got a role to play on this team, and then he leaves. What if Jalen Hurts took his ball and left from Alabama last year? I think there's a right and wrong way to do it.
I just think there's better solutions than the transfer portal. One of the biggest mistakes I think we make in college athletics is limiting guys to 5 years. Why can't a guy play 6? Well, and I'm talking about in all sports. Give him 6 years of eligibility and then make him reach a bar before you let him transfer. You commit to a school. If your coach stays, I think you should stay 4 years. Then you can transfer and go play someplace else 2 years. The reason I say that is because my college experience was very, I wouldn't say it's unique, but it was very humbling. It was part of my learning process. I was probably Ball State's first or second recruit. Came off a powerhouse high school team, was captain of the team, and I was a major disappointment for 2 years. And most of it my fault. Had a coach that I couldn't stand, offensive line coach treated me poorly, tried to humble me. I needed to be humbled. And I didn't need to just quit, transfer, do other things. I needed to be humble. I needed to go through that experience. And then the next 2 years, I had a very positive experience. We got a new coach, Lawrence Cooley. We hit it off, and things went well for me the next 2 years. But without that experience of being humbled, if I had been allowed to quit, and trust me, I wanted to quit, and both my parents are like, are you crazy? You ain't coming home here. And so I'm glad I was forced to stick it out. I think some of these guys need to be forced to stick it out because you just never know what's going to happen.
I don't think you only get humbled in failure or disappointment. You also get humbled in success. Like, imagine if you're a starter, you hit a dry patch, you're not playing well, whatever it is. Humility comes in a lot of different forms and facets. So let's not just say that you only have to lose something to all of a sudden realize what you've lost. Sometimes you can win, attain it, and still lose parts of it and realize that perspective. I just feel for all these guys. My deeper issue, and is coming out in this subject, is these guys, 4 or 5-star guys, continuously just get into this pack, into this cattle call to the same schools, and then wake up and realize, oh, I'm never going to get a chance to show who I am.
Right.
What were you thinking? I will always tell them, go to the highest academically ranked school It's a lesser athletic school, more than likely, but get your shine and have this uber successful fan base and alumni base support you.
Yeah.
I don't understand their calculus when they get in these situations.
I mean, there's so much, and I love your point. I love your point, and you guys bring up all great points. And one of the things also I'll just end on with this is there are going to be disappointments in everybody's career, college or pro. I mean, you're going to deal with adversity at some point. The reason that I don't love a live transfer portal during the season is because it presents an avenue and an outlet for that disappointment and adversity in real time. There's no cooling off period. You lose a job, next day, I'm out. Guess how many guys feel like they want to leave the day after losing their job? Almost everybody. There were times, I walked in one time, the first spring I was competing for the starting quarterback job, I walked in one day after one 7-on-7 that I played poorly, and they were doing live depth chart every day. I was third. I was like, man, I'm out, like this, I'm out of here. If I had a transfer portal, that would have been the worst possible thing for me because I could have run to that transfer portal versus having the cooling off period, learning how to compete, learning how to deal with adversity, and get through the season.
I got to say this quickly. I was going to transfer Columbia to go to Cal Berkeley, where I was going to go initially out of high school. There was no transfer portal, but I was ready to move on because the scouts weren't looking at me after my junior year. Imagine if I did, who knows what would happen, but they end up coming. So, yeah, get you.
All right, Darnell, you got something else?
Yes, sir. I want to move over to high school sports. A new survey of high school athletic programs reveals that participation in sports has declined for the first time in 30 years. This is the biggest drop. The biggest drop, was in football, which fell by more than 30,000 players to its lowest level in almost 20 years. I want to ask you guys, should we be concerned about the drop in high school football?
Yes, I think without question. My concern, though, isn't just high school football. When I hear for the first time in 30 years participation in high school sports is down, this is, again, why I'm so defensive about football. It is the driver of high school sports participation, and it's like we're trying to create this society where sports are being diminished and not seen as a positive tool to shape and mold young people, and I just completely disagree with it.
I totally agree, and that's what's alarming to me. Listen, if you say, hey, you know, participation in football is diminishing, I'd say, okay, as long as other sports are increasing, because I don't want kids just going home. I don't want kids not in a team environment. I don't want kids without mentors and coaches to help them through those points and times of adversity through their formative years. That's the alarming part, is that all participation is down, which means they're not playing football. Okay, well and good. That doesn't mean they're playing lacrosse or soccer or anything else. They're just, hey man, like, let's go play online video games. You know what I mean? That to me,
esports is going like, and look,
that's a problem. That's the problem that I have, you know, because I don't think it's a safety issue. And ultimately, I think the character of our country will get hurt eventually by people not playing in team sports where you must be selfless in order to succeed.
People are missing what's really happening. I think this is beautiful, and I'm going to tell you why. The cause is really technology, and gaming. Sports is a means to an end using your body, but the way to the absolute top is using what's between your ears. So when did Mark Zuckerberg start Facebook? Anybody? February 4th, 2004. So Facebook was born, and kids were born that are now 15 years old. If you're 15, where are you? In high school. And they look over, and they're in these STEM programs instead of on the field. And they're looking at sports like, oh, I see the love for it, and I see what you get out of it, but there's a different calculus. So what used to be is, I want to be like Mike, be like Michael Jordan, who's worth $1.9 billion. Amazing. But now people want to be like Mark, who's worth $67 billion. He's looking at Michael Jordan and said, let me get 35 of those and have some change, y'all. This is what's happening. I am involved with a lot of STEM programs around Los Angeles. These kids are saying, Peyton Manning was amazing, wasn't he? LeBron is insane. My friend, you don't know his name. He's just sitting at home using between his ears, and he's going to get the opportunities and net worth beyond what these guys are getting on the field. And look, I understand what sports gives us back, but if you're talking about what you can give back to your family in terms of generational wealth, these kids are doing a different equation.
That's a financial calculus.
Yes.
That you know, has some merit to that argument.
Some?
But I don't want to. This is bigger than just financial. Again, because, again, you can give a bunch of people can make a lot of money, and I got a lot of problems with the people in Silicon Valley. They got a lot of money. I don't think their character is that strong. I don't think the society they're trying to build will work as effectively as the ones that got us to this point. And so I just think.
But that's a subjective argument against objective numbers. I'm giving you why the objective numbers are going down, because people are looking at it objectively and say, what's the end game?
Listen, if they're involved, then I'm for it.
Right.
If it's in the STEM programs, if it's in lacrosse, whatever it is, I'm fine with football's numbers diminishing. I really am, because I think the top of the line football is still one of the greatest ways out of the poverty-stricken areas of our country that we have.
Yeah, right.
And football allows that opportunity. It's an avenue. And as long as kids are involved, I think that's the biggest part. So, if that's right, they're in the
But what are they involved in? Again, are they involved in learning how to communicate and deal with people who are different than them, who have different thoughts than them? That's what I worry about, because I'm telling you, sports, I've seen people through sports get along with people they have nothing in common with.
I don't disagree.
And so I just don't know if you learn that.
Oh, the STEM teams I'm around, you should see the demographics. It's similar to a huddle.
But it's still an individual sport.
Well, STEM is not. It's about science, engineering, technology, mathematics.
So for yourself,
yeah,
right?
It's almost
not like you're not competing with a team.
No, you're trying to learn robotics and automation, and you're trying to do programming. And it's really like it's a different way to really activate yourself. Like a glorified academic decathlon team, which I was on as a youth. So it's just a different engineering of how to get to the top.
I like being dumb. Coming up, the Cowboys have been playing hardball with Ezekiel Elliott all summer. We'll tell you if it's going to pay off. Next!